tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa idanandati peccanandati kata puñño upayattanandati puññang me katanti nandati iyo nandati suggatin gatoti. Venerable monks, dear brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, as usual, this Thursday evening we all are here to listen Dhamma. Buddha said, Sunata dhareta charata dhamma. When we listen Dhamma, then we need to absorb that Dhamma into our heart and mind. And then we need to follow whatever we absorb, whatever we learned. If we just hearing, listening Dhamma, not following it, that means we are not really focusing what Buddha said. Listening is the most popular way in Buddha's time. Sunata is the word that we can find everywhere in the sutras. In every sutra we find only one word known as Sunata. Sunata means hearing, listening. But today there are many ways that we can learn Dhamma. Hearing, watching, reading, and so forth. But still, we need to have our interest, our courage to learn Dhamma. Otherwise, compared to many people, and not many people interested in Dhamma, not many people want to listen to Dhamma, because you have to have some kind of interest and knowledge and previously conducted karma, punya karma, good karma, in order to continue and follow this Buddha Dhamma. Because this is not just for limited on one sansaric period of time. This is not one or lifetime. This is continuity, life after life. So whatever we learn, practice in this life, we are carry on this learning to following life. And then according to whatever we learn in this life, so then we just accumulating our interest, accumulating our knowledge and wisdom, then going forward to learn and practice more Dhamma. So you are here, you have some knowledge that you have gained in the previous time. Now that's why you are still try to learn more and more Dhamma, and try to practice more and more Dhamma, and try to live accordance with the Dhamma. So that's the way of shortening the sansaric suffering and looking for blissful happiness, nirvana. Today our topic is Buddhist concept of happiness. There are several sutras mentioning about happiness, different types of happiness. When you are here today, you are experiencing some types of happiness. That happiness we call spiritual happiness or Niramisa Sukha. Niramisa Sukha means, Niramisa means not relating to sense faculties. Whatever we experiencing, we are not indulging our sense faculties. But we are actually indulging our mind towards spirituality, spiritual learning, spiritual gaining. We call Niramisa Sukha. And there are Samisa Sukha. Samisa means that we are indulging six sense medias. Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jiva, Kaya, Mana. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. We call these six sense medias or six sense faculties. And these six sense faculties that we are relating to external objects. Rupa, Shabda, Rupa, Saddha, Gandha, Rasa, Pottabba, Dhamma. External form, Rupa. And hearing, tasting, smelling, touch. So these called external objects. When these six internal and external media connecting together, then we feel kind of happiness. We call Samisa Sukha. Samisa means again indulging of six sense medias, six sense faculties. Normally you hear Sukha. The word Sukha means happiness. Dukkha means suffering. Adukkama Sukha means neither happy nor suffering. So there are three types of feelings, we call feelings. But the first one is Sukha Vedana. Sukha Vedana means that happy feeling. When we are living luxurious life, having luxurious things, indulging luxurious materials with, then what we feel? We feel Sukha Vedana. Whenever we cannot have those luxurious things, like whatever we expect, whatever we want, whatever we need, then we cannot indulge, we cannot experience, we cannot have them. Then what do we feel? We feel Dukkha Vedana. That is opposite of Sukha Vedana, opposite of happy feeling. And sometimes neither happy nor sad feelings. So Buddha very clearly, he mentioned different types of happiness. Sometimes we call Pabbajja Sukha. Pabbajja Sukha means monastic happiness. Monastic happiness. So monastic happiness is a different types of happiness that what they experience. Since they become monk, ordained, and they feel type of happiness. They feel happiness of renunciation from home to homelessness. They are experiencing of happiness that having little. They are experiencing of happiness that they free from many attachments. And the monk's life is totally free because they can go wherever they want. Why? Because they don't have many attachments to the families. So that is called Pabbajja Sukha. Plus, they are generating spirituality. teaching, preaching, meditating, and guiding people, and showing the right thing, showing the right path. And whenever they are doing those types of activities, what they normally feel, they feel pabbajja sukha. And then they continue of this happiness towards gaining more and more wisdom, knowledge, and try to shorten in these sansaric sufferings, and aiming the goal of attaining nirvana. So that is pabbajja sukha. And lay people, as lay people, they also experiencing types of happiness. Buddha said, as a lay people, you are experiencing of atti sukha. What does it mean? Atti means that you are possessing something. You are having something. Having of what? You have a job, you have a family, you have a wealth, you have properties, you have whatever you want to consume, and having very comfortable life. So then, those people, they feel, well, now I am happy. Normally, whenever, whatever you have, enough to live, enough to consume, and enough to share, enough for charity, and enough for having comfortable life, then atti sukha, that I am having enough, I am having enough to live comfortably. So what we call atti sukha. And anana sukha. What does it mean, anana sukha? That's also happiness, right? Anana. Anana means not having any debt. Borrowing monies, borrowing for living, for housing, for cars. So normally, people, they don't have enough money. What they do, they get loan from the bank. Since they get loan, and they are always having headache, because end of the month, and they are calculating their earnings. Now, end of the month, the paycheck, whatever I get, I have to divide into such and such categories. For food, for loan, for school, and so forth. If we are borrowing money, then we don't have anana sukha, right? We don't have anana sukha. Why? Because it is always just going in your mind, and it doesn't give any kind of happy feelings. Bhoga sukha, having enough to consume yourself, and then having enough for your family, and you feel that I am having to consume. Anavajja sukha means that living righteously. Righteous living. So I don't get anything by cheating. I'm not getting anything, I'm not gaining, receiving anything by lying. I'm not getting anything by killing or doing any unrighteous things. So these type of happiness that normally lay people are expecting. So this type of happiness also apply to even monks, nuns. Because when we have in temple, even especially in US, you cannot have an anana sukha. Why? Because properties are very expensive, and 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 of dollars for property, about acre of land. So you have to get loan, right? So then we need to keep contact with the people, and we need to ask for support, and we need to send out letters, and we need to collect money, and even monks not having that happiness. Some areas, some countries, even here and mostly in Europe, and not very much of support, so they are having this type of problems, right? So this is just not only applying to lay people, also it applies to monks and nuns, especially for the temples. And Buddha said, Ida nandati pecca nandati, kata punyo ubayata nandati. In order to gain happiness in this life, kata punyo, that's another type of happiness he mentioned. Kata punyo. What is punya means? Punya means meritorious deeds, doing meritorious actions. Kata punya, doing, kata means doing. Punya, meritorious action. When you offer dana, what are you looking for? You are looking for happiness. You are looking for happiness of yourself, and you are expecting happiness of others. Right? When you are offering dana to the monks or to needy people, you are simply looking for happiness. You are so happy when you are doing such karma. And you can smile yourself. And even others, whoever recipients, they also are smiling, receiving your offerings. Katapun. Idanandati. In this very life, immediately, he can happy of doing meritorious karma, meritorious action. What are the meritorious actions? There are 10 types of meritorious actions. We call Dasa Punya Kriya. Dana, Sila, Bhavana, Vayavaccha, Apachayana, Pattidana, Pattanumodana, Dhammasavana, Dhammadesana, Dittuju Kamma. Those are 10 meritorious actions. Dana is the first, means practicing of generosity. Sila, morality. Morality means, as for lay people, observing not to kill, observing not to steal, observing not to do any sensual activities, observing not to lie, observing not to take intoxicated alcohol. So those are just a normal principles for the lay people to follow. And then you can feel that I am a moral person, I am following morality. And then he said, you can generate more meritorious karmas by being concentrating your mind, focusing your mind, gaining mindfulness, then you are acquiring merits. Bhavana, following, practicing meditation. In return, you are generating merits plus mindfulness and concentration. Vayavaccha. Vayavaccha is very important for the monks and nuns and lay people. Vayavaccha means giving you a support. Giving you a support means not monetary support. That type of support means that, putting your time's effort to do certain things in public places. We call in Sinhala Vatavat. Vatavat. Vatavat means Vayavaccha. Vayavaccha means that when you come to temple, there are certain things to do. Trash everywhere. Right? Chairs are everywhere. Plates and cups everywhere. So immediately comes to your mind, well, this is public place. This place is used by many. Used by many in the past, present, still, and the future will be using. So therefore what I should do? I can do something. I can clean this place. I can collect all this trash and put into trash can. I can put all these plates and cups in place, stack them together in a better place. So, cleaning and doing such type of actions we call Veyyavacca. That is meritorious deeds. Right? To do this type of meritorious deeds, we don't have to spend money. What we just need to spend? Our time and energy. Veyyavacca karma. Apachayana. What does it mean, apachayana? Apachayana means paying respect to respectable and worthy people, which is meritorious karma. When you are doing such things, in return, immediately, what do you feel? You feel happiness. You feel happiness. That is called Niramisa happiness. Niramisa sukha. Immediately you can feel happy. You are not angrily doing such things. Your mind is so pure and clear and you are doing sake of others and well-being of others. So providing your time, energy, effort to make the place nice and clean and organized. And apachayana means Veyyavacca apachayana. Apachayana means paying respect to respectable person, elderly people, parents, grandparents, worthy people. So that means kneel down them and nursing them, protecting them, provide them whatever they need, feeding them, giving medicine, providing foods, and giving hand, and pushing wheelchair. These type of actions we call apachayana karma. What we gain? We gain merits. Those actions are available. We don't have to spend money for it. It is free and we can gain merits without spending any money, any penny. Pattidana, patta anumodana. These are the ways that we gain happiness. Pattidana means that remembering departed. So it is very common in this society. Even in Buddhist, everywhere. It is very common practice. They pay gratitudes. They remember their parents departed. They remember their departed friends, relatives. Because they know as Buddhists, when someone passes away and they become helpless, maybe not. Sometimes if they accumulate a lot of meritorious deeds, it doesn't matter, they don't need your support, they can get support by themselves. But still we don't know their karma, if they have done some karmas in past lives. So still they have to pay back. So therefore it is good always accumulating some meritorious karmas and transferring to them. So we call pattidana. Praptidana, pattidana. It means that transferring meritorious deeds, which is important. And what do we get in return? We feel happy. Because I did such and such ceremony, such and such day, and you can feel so happy. Pattidana. Patta Anumodana. When someone is doing such good action, you can simply just put your palms together and say sadhu, and you are just giving some support. It's called Patta Anumodana. If someone is doing such things, you can either help physically, or you can say word verbally, and you can even think mentally, and then just supporting it. Patta Anumodana. Some people, they are very jealous. When someone is doing a lot of work, when people, some, very selected people, they work so hard, day and night. They come doing paperwork and cleaning and cooking and providing things to the people and organizing and a lot of work. Some people just looking at them and they are just simply jealous at them. Why? Because they become famous. I am just a person that don't do anything, and no one welcome me. That's how they feel. No one cares me. So, whoever doing such good things, and some people, they are very jealous at them. They don't like them to do such things, and they discourage. Say, well, now you have done such and such many things, many years. Now you should retire, right? And let other people do. This, I experienced these things. I heard many times from the people. They say, oh, Bhante, and that person told me, not to do such and such things, not to organize these ceremonies. Why? Because they're jealous, they discourage. What we need to encourage. Instead of encouraging, they discourage people. Why? Because it is very bad mental, what we call asava or taints or defilements. Jealousy, you can consider as a defilement, taint. So, we need to let go of jealousy. Instead of letting go, people, they cultivate jealousy. When they are cultivating jealousy, they are discouraging and they are accumulating demerits instead of making meritorious deeds, which is bad action, bad karma. There are some verses in Dhammapada. It says that king made big offerings to the community of the Sangha. One of his ministers, he blamed the king. He said he's just wasting a lot of money. But just outside person, he was praised the king. He said he's doing such great things. So, Dhiro Vadanang Anumodamano. Dhira means that person who's wise and energetic, and he's just sitting somewhere and looking at it and say sadhu. Phrase it. So, the one person close by, nearby, working together, he is blaming what king did. Another person, he praised what king did. So, we can do Patta Anumodana. Just say sadhu, just praise them, praise it, and say it is a good karma, you did marvelous thing, and great karma, and encourage the person. You are freely generating merits without spending anything. Just few words, saying and thinking of such words. Dhamma savana, Dhamma desana. Dhamma savana. What does it mean? Dhamma savana. Listening to Dhamma. Listening to Dhamma means Without listening or reading or watching, we cannot gain wisdom. We cannot learn Dhamma. Without learning, our mind is empty. When mind is empty, we don't know what to do. We don't know what the right path. We don't understand right direction. Therefore, we need to listen. Sutava Arya Savako Asutava Putujjana. How Buddha said. Sutava, the learned person, the one who heard the Dhamma, he becomes noble friend. Arya Savaka, noble disciple. Asutva Putujjano, the one who's not listening, and he's just a regular person, he's empty person. So therefore, Dhamma Savana is meritorious Dhamma. Whenever we are listening Dhamma, we gain happiness. How we gain happiness? Because some sort of things that we did not understand, once we hear in Dhamma, and immediately trigger your mind. Now I understand this. It was just a cloud in my mind, and then a lot of confusion and a lot of doubtful things that happen, and now I understand this Dhamma. So you feel so happy. Dhamma Savana. Dhamma Desana. Dhamma Desana means preaching, teaching, guiding, providing Dhamma to people. Dhamma Desana. Lay people, monastics, nuns, anyone can do this. Right? Our brother Mason is doing it. Right? He is preaching Dhamma. So that means that giving Dhamma, giving your knowledge, sharing your knowledge with people, with friends. So in that way, you are simply accumulating meritorious Dhamma, plus you are happy of doing such good things, preaching Dhamma. So angrily, you cannot preach Dhamma. And last one, Dittudu Kamma. Ditti Udu. Ditti means view. Udu means erect. Straighten of your vision. Your knowledge. Your faith. Your confidence. This is very famous story I always like to share with you. Few years back in Sri Lanka, I think I told this few times already, but if some of you are new here, so I like to share with you. And people who are not very much of deeper in Dhamma, someone is able to, change your vision, change your view, change your faith, change your understanding. How they do? Just giving some sort of teachings. In Sri Lanka, not only Sri Lanka, all over the world, there are missionary working. Missionary people, their main goal is to converting people. So normally they target small children, like little boys in the back. So targeting little boys, little girls, when they are very, young age, teenagers, it is very easy to convert them. That's what you are doing. You are converting your children to the Buddhism at home. So that's why your children become Buddhist. Because of you are simply teaching them from the beginning. So in Montessori teachers, they use this method to change their belief towards other religions. There are many students, 2 teachers in the front, 3 boxes in the middle. 3 boxes, cardboard boxes in the middle, and one side is children, another side teachers are standing or sitting. And now teachers asking children now here you can find 3 boxes, box number 1, box number 2 and box number 3. They ask to put your hand into number 1 box. They think these boxes fill with candies, chocolates, toys, buzzers, all types of things that what they like. Now they're anxious to put their hands. And they all come together and then put their hands into number 1 box. This is true story, was in newspaper. Someone witnessed and published a newspaper. And they all put their hands into number 1 box. They put their hand deeper and deeper and they found nothing. Then teacher asked, what did you find? Children say, very sadly, nothing teacher. Right? And then, okay, now your second chance. Number 2 box is here now available. Now you can put your hands into number 2 box. They all now anxious and they are expecting something at least from this box. At least chocolate or something. So they all put their hands into number 2 box. They put their hands, and then looking around and they finally found baby Buddha. That's all. Only baby Buddha. Then one child showing teacher found this baby Buddha. Okay, put it back. Now, one more box is remaining. Now, you need to put your hands into number 3 box. Now they are expecting something at least from this box. They all put their hands into that box, filled with chocolate, toys, small buses, cars, a lot of things there. And then they're so happy, and then smiling faces. And then one by one they are selecting things. They said, this is what we found. And then put your hands deeper and deeper and find something else, whether you have something else. Then they put baby Jesus pictures. And then they said, what else did you find? Oh, teacher, we found baby Jesus. Then they're asking, what did you find on number 1 box? Nothing. Number 2, baby Buddha. What else? Nothing. Did he give any toys for you? Chocolate? Buddha? No. And then number 3 box, what did you find? Chocolates, candy, so forth. Who gave you? Then, baby Jesus. Jesus gave all these for you. Right? This is systematically changing their vision. This is true story. Was in newspaper. So after that, those little children think that, he is the one giving everything whatever we need, whatever we want. So, when people who mature of teachings, learning, no one is able to change their vision, their understanding, because they already matured. But still, some people already they've grown, but still they haven't learned. And anytime someone is able to change, someone can encourage them to convert. Why? Because they are not matured in Dhamma. They haven't learned, they are not learned people. So therefore it is dangerous whoever not hearing, listening Dhamma, not deeper in Dhamma, not understanding the real teachings of the Dhamma. This is still unpredictable. We don't know where he's going to follow, what he's going to follow, where he's going to go. So Dittuju Kamma means that your vision is very straight. No one is able to change you. Most of you are here. You are matured in Dhamma. I don't think these things, this method is able to change your vision. Why? Because you are already matured, learned, and still learning. What happens if we change? We give up everything. Our values, our knowledge, our freedom of thoughts, everything we give up, and then we stuck with some only kind of beliefs. So you cannot argue, you cannot doubt, and you must follow whatever they said. But Buddhism is free teachings, religions that really we can follow, we can practice. So anyway, when we are following these 10 meritorious kammas, what we gain? We gain happiness. Niramisa Sukha. When you are having very comfortable life, you also feel happy, which is different from Niramisa happiness, but it is still we need. That's why Buddha never ever said that you have to let go of your wealth. You have to let go of your earnings, your jobs, your family, your house, cars. He never ever said. Those are needed in order to do more meritorious kammas, and this is systematically, gradually, we are following this Dhamma. When you're looking at Mangala Sutra, you can see this gradual way of teaching from this Mangala Sutra. Starting from Asevanaja Balana, do not associate foolish people. And then gradually, next what he said, Panditananta Sevana, associate wise people. Right? Then you need to do your duties towards parents, children. Mata Pitu Patthana. You need to do your duties towards your parents and to relatives, right? Nyatakananta Sangaho and Kalena Dhamma Savana. Then is gradually you are following this Dhamma, listening Dhamma, having discussions of the Dhamma, and gradually you are learning, and finally you become to ultimate place of happiness. You don't worry, you don't sad at the last, because that is the last stage. So we have responsibilities, we have duties. We have duties towards parents, children, family, teachers, husband to wife, wife to husband, and so forth. So we need to do all kind of things. So he never ever encouraged us to away from that. We need to do those things, but not entire life, not entire our life circle. So we let go one by one, little by little, and then target is there. Ultimate happiness is there. So the temporary we are experiencing those type of happiness. And also Buddha said, Idanandati Pechanandati Katapunyo Ubayattanandati. When we do meritorious commerce in this life, Idanandati, we happy in this very life. Pechanandati, we will be happy in the life after. Ubayattanandati, we will be happy both. Ubay means both. This very life and life after. Kata punyo ubayattanandati. Whoever doing meritorious commerce, they are happy this time, this life, next time, next life. Ubayattanandati. Punyam me katanti nandati. So, these are the meritorious things that we need to do in order to gain happiness. There are different places that mention this type of happiness. Sutras. Anana Sutta, it says about Atti Sukha, Bhoga Sukha, Anana Sukha, Anavajja Sukha, as I mentioned earlier. And Satipatthana Sutra. There is a section called Vedananupassana. The second foundations of mindfulness, Vedananupassana. It mentions 9 types of feelings. Sukha dukkha adukkama sukha, samisa sukha dukkha adukkama sukha, niramisa sukha dukkha adukkama sukha. 9 types of feelings. So, throughout those feelings, first one is sukha. First one is sukha. Second group, samisa sukha. Third group, niramisa sukha. There are 3 happiness in 3 places that we can find from Satipatthana Sutra. Even in meditating people, they are looking for this type of happiness. They are experiencing of this type of happiness. As I said, sukha dukkha dukkha. First sukha means just normal happiness. When you are going on the street, having walked in the morning or evening, all of a sudden you meet a friend that you didn't see him long time. Suddenly you meet him. Then what do you feel? Happy, right? So he hugged him, and asking details and where you were and so forth. So it is sukha vedana. Sukha means happiness. Feeling of happiness. Vedana means feeling. So at that moment, he feels happy. Sukha vedana. And dukkha adukkama sukha. Dukkha means suffering. If I go through that a little bit, if you go next day, you saw many people surrounded. Ambulance are there, police cars are there, firefighters are there. So you just go and closer, what you're looking at something. Then you found one of your friends had an accident. Immediately what you feel? Dukkha, suffering. First day, you experience of happiness, of meeting such a friend. Next day, you experience of sadness, suffering, because of just seeing such a friend had an accident. So next day when you are walking, you don't feel nothing. Adukkha masukha, neither happy nor sad. Yes, you make your walk, come home. The second group of feelings. Samisa sukha dukkha adukkha masukha. Samisa means, as I said, indulging of your sense faculties with external sense object. For example, you are having desire of tasting very flavorable ice cream, right? Then you make it. Then you are tasting it. What do you feel at the moment? Samisa Sukha. At that moment you are having this happiness. Samisa Sukha. Next time, now you remember that taste, right? Even you can remember the taste, right? And next time, you want to taste it again. But you open your drawer and then you don't find any money, right? You check your wallet, there is no any money. And you open your refrigerator, there is no any left. So, your desire is still there. And you need to indulge it, but nothing. Nothing left. Not even money. And even you don't have a place to go, you don't have a transportation. So the lack of problems to tasting it. Then what immediately you feel? Samisa dukkha, suffering. Your desire is there. You want to indulge, but not available. The next day, you don't feel nothing different. Not samisa, indulging of happiness or sadness. This is the way that explaining of these feelings. And the third group of happiness, what they said, we went through already some of them. Niramisa. Niramisa, samisa means indulging of sensuality. Niramisa means not relating with our sense faculties, an external sense object, but Niramisa means that away from it, beyond that. That means, you want to listening to Dhamma. Then your desire is there. This is Niramisa desire, right? It is wholesome thoughts. But you are listening it. Then you are listening it and you are happy. Right? You are experiencing happiness at the moment because of you are listening Dhamma that you are expecting. And you want to have a meditation session. Then you are thinking and then plan and then go and completing it. Then what do you feel? Niramisa Sukha. Niramisa Sukha. And as I said, 10 types of meritorious karmas. Whenever you are doing those 10 meritorious karmas, dana, sila, bhavana, vidyavacca, apachayana, patidana, pattanumodana, dhammasavana, dhammadesana, ditthiju karma. Whenever you are doing those things, that means you are experiencing of Niramisa Sukha Vedana. Niramisa happiness. Niramisa means that spiritual happiness, another way to say it. This is called spiritual happiness instead of materially gained happiness. This is spiritual happiness. You can experience all this time to time. You can see the differences. Sometimes you are experiencing of the first type of happiness, sukha, with ice cream, right? Without ice cream. And second, the first one is just normal happiness of meeting friend. Second with ice cream, flavorable ice cream. Third with meritorious things to do. And then you experience that happiness immediately. Then you say, this is marvelous. This is wonderful. This is great. This is my great happiness I'm experiencing today. So, Niramisa, remember, Niramisa Sukha means not indulging with sensual objects, sense pleasures. It is totally is spiritual happiness, spiritual way of gaining happiness. Dana, Sila, Bhavana, so forth. And even dukkha, sometimes you want to practice meditation. And then you are asking permission from your husband. Husband says no. Right? So suppose that you want to give a dana. And because husband and wife both they need to discuss. And husband says, no, I don't have money for it. Right? So then what you immediately feel? Niramisa dukkha. Right? You immediately are feeling niramisa dukkha. You feel so sad. Your desire is to do some meritorious commerce, but a lot of obstructions, blockages, and someone is not letting you to do so. And sometimes when you are living in a very remote place, like Alaska. Alaska is very snowy and icy and, very, little people, few people living there because it's not livable place because of lack of things. And many days, months and months and, stacking ice. So, there's no choice but you are still living there. You can find temple, monks, spiritual places. But you need to do something, you need to do dana, you need to practice meditation, you need to learn, but lack of places. Then what do you fear? Niramsa dukkha. So I cannot just tell only niramsa sukha or happiness without telling the opposite. So that's why I'm just give you some examples. Niramsa dukkha. Then you feel niramsa dukkha, suffering. And sometimes need happy, no, niramsa, sad. So these type of happiness that we are expecting in our life. And there are other ways of gaining happiness. When we renounce from something, we renounce from taking alcohol habitually. Person is alcoholic. And all of a sudden, he wants to renounce from it. When you renounce from it, you feel happy. Happy of renunciation. That's what Bodhisattva, King Siddhartha experience. So we can apply these happiness into 8 noble paths. Sammaditthi, right view. You have a lot of doubt, not understanding, not clearing your mind, cannot come to conclusion, cannot understand this teaching. All of a sudden you are learning and learning hard, and then finally you understood the teachings. You can see 4 noble truths. There's no any doubt. You can see direct path. No doubt. Then what we experience? We experience of happiness. Having right view, we can experience of happiness. Right? Samma sankappa, right intention. renunciation. We renounce from certain things. We renounce from habitually whatever we did. So we are able to renounce from it. And ill will thoughts, we renounce from not having ill will thoughts. If we make our will ill, right? If we make our will ill, that means ill will. So we away from it. And we don't want to, we need to away from cruelty, harming others. Then what we experience immediately, we experience happiness. Right? So sometimes you can call 8 steps to happiness. Right? 8 steps to happiness. So step 1, Samma Ditti, following, understanding, clearing off all the doubt, and seeing the right direction, right path. You can first step of happiness. Second step of happiness, Samma Sankappa, right intention. Samma Vacha, right words. Right words means that Musavada, Pisunavacha, Sampappalapa. Not lying, not slandering talks, not useless talks. So away from those useless words, slandering talks, lying, then third step of happiness. Fourth step of happiness is Samma Kammanta, right action. Pānātikārta, Adinnādāna, Kāmesu Miccācāra. That I stop of doing killing. Stop of taking things from others. And stop of doing sexual misconduct. Then fourth type of happiness. Then you can apply those happiness up to 8. And then finally you can say, I came across of 8 steps of happiness. Now I experience of ultimate happiness. Where is that? Ultimate happiness is Nirvana. Right? So, these are the ways of happiness that we can experience in Buddhism. So, if we, whatever we have, we habitually doing as bad karma, bad action, we can away from it, we can renounce from it, then we can immediately experience happiness. So, Buddha is very intelligent teacher. And he never ever said that you must only follow spiritual happiness. Do not follow material happiness. He never ever said. If he said, then we don't find Vaggapaccaya Sutta there are explanation. Anana Sutta there are explanation about happiness, material happiness. And even in Singalovada Sutra. So there are many places explaining those happiness, material gain, happiness. That's we need it. But he's telling both happiness. Saddha Sampada, Sila Sampada, Jaga Sampada, Panya Sampada. Uttana Sampada, Araka Sampada, Kalyana Mitada, Samadhivata. In this very life, we need to put effort to make money, right? If we just without studying and staying home and doing nothing, then we don't put effort. But Buddha said, no, you have to put effort. Uttana Sampada. Put your effort work hard, make money, having comfortable living. Anaraka Sampada, whatever you earn, you need to protect from the king. You need to protect from the robbers, thief. And you need to protect. You need to balance your spending. And you have to look at your budget, have a balanced budget. Kalyana Mittata. Even though you are having this balancing life, if you associate bad people and you don't know how your money is going to be spoiled, taken away from others. So therefore, having noble friends also prosperity in this life. So, Samajivakata, balancing your life. Balancing is mean that spending, ayavaya. Whatever you earn, you need to balance. Buddha gave a very beautiful sample simile. Suppose there is a tank. This tank has 4 outlets. The rainwater there. And if you fill the water, outlets are open, then all water goes away. If you close those outlets, you fill the water, water will be there. Similarly, whatever we earn, we need to protect it and spending balance. And this is for this life, for happiness of this very life. But for life to come, Saddha Sampada, we need to have a confidence toward Buddha Dhamma Sangha, especially of triple gems, Buddha, awakened one, enlightened one, all-knowing one. So, is able to tame untamable people, Purusa Dhamma Sarthi. So we need to have faith. Normally we don't use faith. The word faith is not much using in Buddhism. We say saddha or confidence. Saddha Sampada. Sila Sampada, having moral life. Chaga Sampada, doing charity. Panya Sampada, gaining wisdom. Means understanding of this Four Noble Truth, understanding cause and effect, dependent origination. Panya Sampada, understanding of impermanent nature, all Panya Sampada. Those are needed for happy to become. So therefore these different types of happiness we can learn from the Buddhism. There are very many ways that we can express this happiness. And when you are doing meditation, you can express your happiness. When you learn and gain knowledge, you can express your happiness. When you have a very good life, better life, and a peaceful life, peaceful living, you can express your happiness. So there are many ways that we can explain this type of happiness. I think this is enough for today, and hope you understood. And this is not a very deep Dhamma, but this is good for our, to practice in our daily life. And wish you all good luck and happiness, and may you all live happily, peacefully, without any trouble and disturbances. And may you always live peacefully and having longevity and healthy life. And finally, may you attain ultimate happiness of the Nirvana. Sabbitiyo vajjantu sangho vinanjatu mate bhavanvantarayo sukhididayuko bhavatu sabba සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ ධම්මානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සම්ම දේවතා සබ්බ සංඝානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු